Are you a successful midlife man wondering why your woman's lost her attraction for you? My name is Craig Filick, and over the past 15 years, I've coached hundreds of the most successful men in America to clarify what's next so they can unleash their full potential in the greatest decades of their lives. And in this video, I'm going to explain why so many of my clients have had rocky relationships, been cheated on, served divorce papers, even lost half their empire, and gotten blamed for all of it. And I'll share with you some tips on how you can correct course immediately so your woman is excited to stay with you instead of blaming and punishing you for losing her attraction for you. The number one frustration I see in men in long-term relationships is that their woman loses interest despite them having worked their tail off for decades to produce, provide, and protect, and they get cheated on, lied to, divorced, taken through the ringer at a time in life when men are expecting the kids to leave the nest, the business to settle down, and the good times to finally begin. Full disclosure, I am far from perfect and currently decidedly, very happily single. So I'm speaking from hard-won experience that I've learned through losing 2 long-term relationships, and in helping my clients navigate divorce or repairing their marriages. I have no moral judgment about any of it, and my only intention in this video is to share with you some of the maps and tools and pathways that I've discovered so that you can orient yourself for the journey ahead of you wherever it might lead you. And leadership is the operative word. We want to be the leaders in our lives and relationships. The truth is, you can't become successful without being a leader. So if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you know what leadership is, how it feels, and you have a reference for yourself in a leadership role in both your career and your family. Now, the biggest mistake I see successful midlife men make is they reach the peak of success mountain. The kids leave the nest. They pause to take a breath because they've been sprinting for 15, 20, 25 years, and they're burnt out. And they look at their wives and they find that they have no idea where they're heading anymore. Their wives are looking to them to lead, and they soon lose attraction when that killer instinct that drove you for so long just kind of flickers out. So the man turns into a lazy bum who's just golfing his way to the grave with no real ambition, no major contribution, and no intention to find one for the second half of life. Or they're plodding away on the golden hamster wheel, thinking if they keep producing, they'll be able to sustain their lifestyle, and that will be enough for their woman to stay attracted, only to find out that she wants to rekindle the spark and excitement from the beginning of the relationship before the kids and the minivan and the daily grind got in the way. And of course, some men collapse into addiction and thrill seeking. Their woman realizes that she's dating or married to an immature man who isn't ready to go to the next level in life, and she can't feel that deep magnetic attraction she needs to feel to fulfill her feminine heart, so she leaves. Here's the thing. Women are incredibly perceptive. They know long before we do when we're selling ourselves short, and they instinctively want to be with a man who refuses to remain a caterpillar when he is destined to become a butterfly. So you might experience her bitching, nagging, fighting, testing you to see what kind of man you really are. And in my experience, men, we want to be the hero for our woman. We want to be the leader, but in midlife, we run out of roadmap, and that leaves us spun out, unsure what to do next, and this creates this awful situation. So if any of that rings true, you might realize that you've got a wonderful gift in the form of pressure from your woman to get off your ass, get moving, find your second mountain of purpose, meaning, impact, and legacy. So what do? Well, to help you get through this lull in the action, as I like to call it, and get you back on track to maximizing your full potential in the second half of life so you can keep your woman magnetically attracted to you, give your greatest gift, and ultimately die complete, I have a few tips from my teachers in the men's movement over the past 30 years. Men like my mentor, David Cates, my teacher, John Wineland, his teacher, David Data, who wrote The Way of the Superior Man, all of my brothers in decades of trainings, workshops, men's groups, and of course, my coaching clients who have recovered their relationships or taken a clear leadership role in separating as cleanly as possible so that both parties could go their own ways and find fulfillment in later life. Tip number 1. I had dinner with a man last night who just dumped his relationship woes out on the table until I was done ravaging my double-stack grass-fed burger with a wedge of buffalo mozzarella in there and organic sauerkraut that I snuck in with me. I took a deep breath, I nodded in compassion, and I simply asked him, what does leadership look like in your relationship now? And he couldn't answer. He mumbled a bunch of stuff about self love and self care and all this self centered stuff, which is a fair start, but it's not leadership. So I modeled for him a reflection on what leadership might sound like based on what I had heard him say. So I'll model that for you now. Babe, I'm a bit lost right now, and I realize it's impacting your trust and attraction for me, and it makes total sense. I want you to know I'm committed to sorting out my purpose and leading us forward in a way that softens your heart and gets us both excited for what's next together. His shoulders dropped. He breathed a sigh of relief. And in that moment, I knew that he understood how his woman would feel when he said something similar to her. Now, of course, it's not leadership to just mouth the words. You have to back that up with action, which brings us to tip number 2, purpose. As men, our evolutionary masculine brain is hardwired for purpose. Making your woman or your family your purpose is really, frankly, a bastardization of that masculine brain. And I'm sure I'm going to get some flack for this, but in my experience, women don't want to be a man's purpose. If cavemen made women their purpose, none of us would be here. Cavemen made hunting the mammoth their purpose, and women followed the men, and they felt the most attraction for the men who made the most heroic contribution to bringing home that mammoth, as evidenced by how the other men respected him and the share that he claimed for his family. Now, it's easy to translate that metaphor into financial terms, but that's first mountain thinking. If you're still climbing your first mountain, absolutely, go for that financial mammoth. That's the game you're playing. But if you're already sitting on a mountain of success, you've got that under your belt. It's time to graduate from there to self-actualization and ultimately self-transcendence. Now, a wounded, selfish-hearted woman may try to dominate you by demanding that you make her your purpose. And to that, I would simply say, red flag. Seek the counsel of the wisest men you know. And if you don't know any wise men, look up some YouTube videos or find a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy by my good friend Robert Glover. He's got some great YouTube content out there right now you can watch to help you break free of that trap. And the book is incredible. Every client that I suggest it to comes back and just says it was a life-changing book for them. So definitely check that out. A healthy, mature woman wants to feel that our focus is on the greater good, with one caveat, which brings us to tip number 3. Learn how to repair. As men, we're just less sensitive and we easily hurt the feelings of those who love us the most without meaning to. And of course, nobody taught us how to repair. So if you're a successful midlife man, you might reach this phase in your life where you've got a little bit more time in your day, you're not grinding like you used to be, and you look around and you realize you've got some messes to clean up with your woman, potentially your family, members of your team, who knows? This tip will give you a nudge in the right direction. So I spent 3 years doing an assignment from my teacher, John Wineland. He had about 20 of us in an inner circle group doing what he called feminine reconciliation. So this was going back to women that we've been intimate with and simply asking them for a chance to apologize and rebalance our hearts for any pain that we might have caused. Most men did their current and maybe their former partner. I went back to every woman I've ever dated, all the way back to high school, and I'll model how I approach them so you can consider doing the same. So I reached out over email or sometimes Facebook Messenger, however I had, easiest contact with them. And I simply said, hey, I'm working hard to clean up some of the messes I've made in my relationships over the years. And I'd love a chance to reconnect with you to just really listen and hear all the ways I might have hurt you, dropped you, pinched your heart, left you feeling less than, or any other ways I failed to love you the way that you deserved to be loved. Would you be open to cleaning this up with me? And I promise not to justify my behavior, just simply to listen and acknowledge how I've made you feel and apologize. About a third never responded. A third replied with, Craig, we're good. Glad to hear from you. Hope you're well. And a third took me up on the offer. And when we were complete, I offered to make reparations by just any act of service that they requested, like whatever came up in their heart that they wanted, I would do it, whatever it was. So I helped repot a large plant in a woman's office before I left New York, and other simple acts just to show my commitment to rebalancing the energy. It took me 3 years to fully clean things up, but it changed me. And it changed my relationship with the feminine. So while we can't make women our purpose, we also can't march off in search of the next mammoth without making sure that our leadership is securely attached with our woman. If we want her to trust us and follow us into the great future that our purpose has in store for us. Now, you don't have to go back to every single woman like I did, but consider cleaning things up with your woman. She'll be impressed as hell. It'll make a deep impression on her heart. I guarantee it. So the question for you is, how can you reclaim your leadership role, find your deeper purpose, and ensure your woman feels cherished so she trusts you enough to follow you into your next great adventure? The challenge you might be facing is where to begin. And in my experience, I would counsel you to start with why. Why do all this work? After grinding so hard for decades, shouldn't you be done? Didn't you win the game? You might be realizing that just because you've achieved success by extrinsic measures, you've only reached the starting line of the real game, which you have decades ahead of you to enjoy. And a good woman that you trust brings a wonderful texture and radiance to a man's life that you just can't get from women who are only with you for money or status or your beer belly and your gray hair, whatever it is that they're attracted to. A good woman, you really can't buy that. So repairing with your woman, it's worth it if you feel like you're both going the same direction for the second half of your life. So don't let your burnout and immature sense of entitlement trap you into thinking that you're done. Take a breather if you need a few months to rest, catch your breath, use that time to repair with your woman and let her know that the best adventure is yet to come. You're looking forward to getting clear on your purpose, what that next mammoth is, and you look forward to leading her into the best years of your lives together. If you'd like some help sorting through this relational puzzle, reach out, book a call with my team. Let's see if we're a good fit to help you out. And if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and share this with a man you know who needs to hear this. And if you'd like to hear my theory on the unique predicament that successful midlife men get mired in at the intersection of longevity, affluence, and masculine purpose, check out my video, Midlife Crisis 2.0, Why Achieving It All Isn't Enough Anymore. And there's plenty of other videos on my channel to address your specific needs. I'll see you in the next video.